Welcome back to ESL Challenger League Season 48. I'm not actually sure what week we're in though, Pilskis. It's my first appearance for this particular season, but good to be here. And as always, good to get some CS underway. We don't get it enough here in this region.
I mean, yeah, we got a lot going on at the moment, so we're pretty blessed in that regard. We got the Challenger League, you got the Atlanta quals going on as well. Send one of these teams over to America. A couple of spicy results happening over there, but look, I think it's going to be nice to watch this matchup between DXA and Vantage tonight as well, because these are two teams that are kind of, you know, sitting thereabouts in the lower order of things, and they need to try to turn their fortunes around and avoid getting relegated potentially.
Yeah, two teams sort of more towards the lower end of the standings. We'll go to the ESCA shout out though, and this is something of course that you're a little bit more familiar with, Pilsky, which I guess is great because for someone like myself who hasn't really seen this, what is it? What is it all about?
Yeah, so registration open for Season 51 at ESCA. If you want to get involved in some Counter-Strike action and play with some of your mates, make sure that you sign up. Obviously, we do get a couple of seasons kind of running concurrently. You know, ESCA Opens, things like that do qualify you to go into Challenger League, which is what we're watching here. Challenger League will send you over to Pro League, so that's kind of how the whole circuit works. And as far as ESCA Open goes, that is the league that you want to be playing with if you want to be making it to kind of the professional league, and does cater to the more, how would I say it, semi-professional, like casual competitive player. I don't know how else to really put that.
Yeah, it's probably the kind of league that I might be just a little bit out of reach for the time being. And it's always good to have multiple pathways though. When it comes to Counter-Strike, I think certainly it's a part of the game that actually is done well towards the lower end. The grassroots is typically always there, and I guess for ESCA, certainly helping in that for a lot of players. You kind of begin in game, and then you want to obviously then go to other system space at ESCA, for example, and obviously try and find your way to the pro level, which is exactly what these particular teams have sort of done tonight, drawing attention towards the teams that we've got at least for this matchup. Pilsky, we kind of, I know coming into tonight, we're not sitting here looking at like 1 and 2, certainly no Rooster, certainly no FlyQuest, etc. But what can we sort of aim to look for from these two teams respectively?
Yeah, I think, taking a look at the standings here, you do have Vantage sitting right down the bottom. I think that's kind of an unfair summary of their season to just summarize it at 2 and 6. They have a very low round differential, -2, and actually they forfeited 2 maps to a weaker opponent, and I think Mantra, the 2 and 6 that they have is actually 2 forfeit wins against Vantage. So head to head, you definitely expect Vantage to be further up than they are. Not to mention the fact they've taken a lot of the more quality rosters in the league to very, very close maps. And DXA have had a couple of upset wins over some better teams in this league, and they're sitting right in the middle of things. And they are always this kind of team that can be dangerous. They're sometimes, bringing some good strats, pretty well organized. They're not the kind of team that is going to blow your sock off in terms of individual skill or bringing some crazy new meta strat that you haven't seen before. They're more so just a bunch of the boys who, show up, they run strats that are meta, they try to play the game the right way, and a lot of the time that makes a team a little bit more difficult to beat.
We'll certainly continue that conversation throughout the match to come. The schedule to follow now, of course, for tonight's action, Vantage and DXA. First up in this one, and yeah, I think continuing on with that particular discussion point, it's certainly one where essentially in this region especially, unless you're like number 1, maybe even sometimes number 2, everyone else is kind of like you almost throw them in a hat and pull a name out. So certainly on any kind of given night, but I think when you do look at the record that DXA has been able to provide throughout this particular season so far, I don't think you can diminish the wins that they've certainly been able to acquire. But then you kind of look at the losses and it's like, well, sometimes you can play certainly to a level where you can maybe knock off a couple of those teams where they beat Rooster, they beat Housebets, etc. But then certainly couldn't say take it up to KCG, for example. So it's like kind of difficult to maybe wonder where they're at. Maybe middle of the table is maybe the best place for them.
Yeah, 100%. I think you summarized it perfectly in that they can beat some of the really good teams in the region. They could beat PNK, they can beat Rooster, but struggling against teams that they should probably be beating, or at least should be closely competitive with, is probably not a good sign. Either way, looking at who's going to be in the server tonight, DXA rolling with all the boys you'd be expecting. We had Prackham in the server the other day, which is a bit of a throwback to even my era of competing in Counter-Strike. But Rocky is going to be back in the server for the DXA boys. And over on Vantage, you have like the core of a team that used to play in champs a lot and has kind of been slogging it out for a while, and a lot of experienced players at this kind of ECL level, as well as Jinx, who he's one of these players who's come over from Fortnite and given competitive CS a proper crack, and has actually kind of turned a lot of heads in terms of what they've been able to achieve. It's not like they become a top team in Australia or anything, but even just going from one esports title to another, and even being able to crack into like the top 8, top 5 of a respective region is very respectable. To be able to make that transition, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, certainly, especially from coming from a game like Fortnite. I don't think that's certainly a story that you hear too often coming into then a competitive shooter like Counter-Strike. I just want your confirmation there. We saw Nub actually in the lineup. I'm not sure whether or not that is actually Alec, if that's a different alias or not.
No, Nub's a different guy who has played with a lot of these guys. I'm not sure, especially in ECL, you do get subs coming in and out with pretty decent regularity, because it is just the round robin kind of stage of the league. But he should be able to hold his own in the server. Like, he's got a fair bit of experience playing with these guys and playing with this at this level as well.
Yep, keen to see how he goes in this matchup. Veto coming our way. Best of 1, of course, for this particular matchup as we head into the veto process. I don't know if coming into it, if you feel like the maps themselves necessarily should matter at this kind of level. I know obviously when it comes to these players respectively, these teams respectively, they've been there, they've done it all. We go to Dust 2. Feels like, as always, maybe a bit of that neutral territory.
Yeah, I mean, it's recently come back into the map pool and had some changes, especially with the short jump. That's something that we've seen really change up the meta of the map. It's slowly evolved over time to where the Suicide Alley has now been blocked off. You have to drop down. That's allowed a little bit more aggression for CTs. Now, in combination with the short jump, it's a bit more of a dynamic map with the CTs have a bit more options. What I'll say about like the veto and teams having advantages or not having advantages, I just think like with this format, you veto down to one map, so everyone ends up on a map they're pretty comfortable on most of the time for a best of 2, which is one map, 2 separate vetoes. But also the consistency of teams at this level in this region is not really there. So, you might look towards some other results and be like, wow, they just beat this. Been through it. They could beat Rooster and lose to KZG, so you don't really know what you're going to get sometimes.
Yeah, Vantage actually have played a couple of Dust 2 matches so far. I think that's probably the one thing I would look at as we head into the predictions here, by the way, with which we're actually both going for Vantage. And lo and behold, considering they've been able to play a couple of maps, get a result on it, which so far DXA haven't. I think it's not so much about the win rate, and it's certainly not about like who you've played on it, but it's like, do you want to be playing that map? When you kind of look at certain maps, like for example, DXA haven't touched Ancient so far. It's higher up in the veto, so that's something that's a little bit more significant in that sort of process, where it's like, if that gets through, then maybe you could look at that. But I think definitely Dust 2 should be pretty neutral territory. They both played it pretty much the same amount of times, and certainly coming into tonight, anything could probably happen on it. It's interesting you brought up the jump up towards short. I played a game like literally only 2 days ago. I swear I watched some guy struggle with it for like a good 15 seconds. It's not the most nuanced jump up. It's actually a little bit tricky if you're not quite precise with your movement.
Yeah, I think, it obviously opens up the meta of the map for CTs, but the most impact that I've seen from it by far is A-site after plants, where the Ts are just holding on the site, holding the ramp, and a CT just jumps up like behind them and gets a 2K because literally no one is ready for the jump up. So
yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, especially considering Dust 2's been a map that's been in well, not in the map pool recently, but arguably has been around for so long. Yeah. It would be ingrained to not even think that that's a possibility. We'll go to the player highlight or player watch that we want for tonight, specifically, I guess more so from your perspective, Pilly. Drox is going to be the one we kind of keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, I think he's the highest rated player at the moment. He's been a prospect that's been kind of up and coming for a while, and I really wouldn't be surprised to see him get on a better team at some point. He kind of reminds me of like Super, who now has played on Mindfreak. I think he's back in Arcade now that they've made some changes, but there was kind of a bunch of players who were playing on some of these lesser known teams and being like, I would say, the best player on their respective teams that you could kind of point out and say, oh, this guy could get a leg up. And I would probably say Drox is the guy that I'm looking at the moment. But, you know, I think people are pretty closely matched in the server for this matchup in particular. And even though we both predicted for Vantage and we highlighted a Vantage player, I think it's pretty important to say, like, anyone in the server really could probably play at about the same level as far as I'm concerned for this matchup, and either of these teams could probably win. It could be a 2-0 either which way, 1-1, close score lines. You know, you don't really necessarily know what you're going to get.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very astute observation. I think at this kind of level, you know, it's really about, can you build consistency? For these players, that has to really be the main goal moving forward when you're at this kind of point where, sure, you can have some really good nights, knock off some good teams, but how often can you do that? Can you do it consistently? Is it just a one-off thing in a best of one? Is the other team more focused on maybe another tournament or an event, or they've been playing, are they tired, etc.? There's so many different outside things that can affect, say, just one result. But on an individual level, as you're kind of, you know, pointing out, that any player could sort of just pop off tonight. You know, that's something that as individuals you've got to be looking at. And it's all about, you know, I might be able to drop 30, but if I go and drop 5 or 10 in the next game, then what, you know, how much have I really been able to accomplish? And so it's all about, can you just find that average, get, you know, a good 20 plus or 15 plus or whatever, and be able to hold your own. So yeah, looking at this list, I think there's certainly a lot of players that I'm certainly familiar with, either from playing against them or casting them, that I think you're absolutely right. They certainly all pop off. I've seen that firsthand, and I'm looking forward to this game. I think, you know, while we've kind of both gone for Vantage, and we've kind of spoken a little bit about them, when I look at that DXA roster, and I look at the names on that, I know Brackham's not playing tonight, but and I'm not as familiar with Rocky myself. Ultimately, it's like what you're saying. This is maybe even a genuine coin flip kind of territory. I think coming into a map like Dust 2, whoever can kind of start well. CT side's going to be important as well with the economy. I think it's going to be really, really important that you don't throw rounds away. If you can do well on CT here, I think you could end up having a pretty good game. Yeah,
I think in the past, especially if you have a bad start on CT Dust 2, you're screwed. And I think for different reasons that can be the case, because I think double AWP has such a popularity at the moment on this map, at least from what I've seen watching some of the pro games. But I would say previously the reason was you had really limited options as CT, and you needed to make sure that you had util to like run the basic protocols on the map, like stop B rushes, take long control, things like that, or fight for long control as CT. Now I think with the lower dark aggression and the short jump up, you can actually play low util, like rifle centric buys, similar to other rounds and other maps rather, and you can do like lower dark or mid aggression or like cat aggression with the low buys and not feel like you get out utiled, like the T's just spam flashes out long or something like that, and lock you out of that part of the map. So I think that the CT start is less important than it used to be for one reason, but more important for the prominence of the double AWP. I think, like, looking at DXA, it's just a bunch of the lads. I mean, both of these teams, really. It's just a bunch of the lads that've just been grinding it in champs and now challenger. Like, the core of, like, Night Raid and, like, Nor, Nub, Drox, like, these guys all used to play in ANZ champs. The latter seasons... the same thing for DXA, like Ruffleco, Keo, like it's the core of another team that was kicking around for a while, and now they've kind of splintered into the Art of War and DXA. So a lot of these players have kind of played at this similar level for a little while. And as you kind of mentioned, it's really a question of whether any of them are going to become breakout players and getting picked up by better teams, or whether they are actually going to start to be a bit more consistent than not making playoffs, or making playoffs and not being very competitive when they get there and play some of the top 4 teams.
Yeah, I feel like that's also quite tricky too, because when you kind of think about yourself individually, you're not thinking about the team. If you're thinking about my career and what I can do, and I think you mentioned it before, potentially about Drox maybe joining a better team, right? And that's something you've always got to be a little bit mindful of. I think if you perform better as a team, you'll more often than not find a way to get on a better team. Yeah.
Just to point that out. So, and you know what? I have not actually really watched these two guys very much. These guys are both from Fortnite, as far as I understand it, and have had reasonable success playing Fortnite. I've even observed some Fortnite from time to time, and I think I've observed these guys playing Fortnite.
You've observed Fortnite?
Yeah, a couple of times actually, multiple times. And I just casted Fortnite for the first time the other day, and that was definitely above my pay grade, honestly.
Yeah, not fun. Vantage Seaside first up. I was hoping we'd get the knife round. I always find the knife round's quite fun.
Nah, we got this all cheeky 2 BO1s. There might even be a knife round, to be honest, but not going to happen, at least for our viewing pleasure, unfortunately, Xenox. But we will get to see maybe some fragging if someone can connect the shot. Finally, Alex being able to, and that's a beautiful little jump up from Nor to clear out Elevator. Alec kind of isolated on short here. If the CTs can win this duel, Kraken in particular gets a clean duel 1, then start to make this retake happen. Nor under a lot of pressure as well, and Night Raid trying to cover him on the cross here.
Yeah, don't mind that from Alec, considering the Glock, close range, close angle contact there with the last 2 players. Good headshot from Prackham, who is inside of the server. Suddenly becomes 1v1. Little tap. Of course, no kit. Night Raid doesn't have to do too much, but Prackham just a little bit better, and with that, certainly has the time. And not going to lie, I thought Vantage were actually in a position where they were going to take that opening round. Pretty decent execute onto site. Love to push up towards short, deny with the Glock, but no one could hit any shots towards the end. And ultimately, that was the undoing for the round. They just needed to be able to buy a little bit more time, especially when you got to play a car, play a site. But yeah, well done to DXA to bring that round back. Important too on CT side. They can certainly do some damage down to this round. I imagine Vantage should be able to buy up, considering did get the bomb plant.
Yep, bomb plant, so they will go for that buy. AK is being forced up. Mix of Deagle. Pretty light util though, which is going to cause you some issues on the side dust too about what you're really able to achieve. You have to take a little bit more of a measured approach. They're going to smoke off the double doors. There's a late flash out long, so I actually like that take. Keo spotting the info. Gonna have to respect that and fall away, but this is what I was talking about. The CTs with the new jump up on short, a lot more of a centralized approach from them playing from catwalk. You might even sometimes see players towards lower dark, and here's the flash from Rolfo to send Keo in. Nicely timed. He goes 1 for 1, which for an MP9 player plus the info, you're quite happy with that as DXA, and you can start to see the rotations coming through now.
Yeah, any swings there from Vantage, and certainly would have been a bit difficult for Keo with the MP9. That's a good long-range shot from Jinx, though. Does at least take out momentarily one of the M4s, although Lucas or Zuko could go and grab that one. Good back off here, still 60 seconds, enough time to go back through bedroom and maybe go for a rotate towards B. Prackham wanting to maybe get a little bit of information. Flash, pop, does get the kill, but again traded just like the earlier engagement, and Lucas does find that M4 on site. He too wants to find some intel, does get the kill. At 60, Molotov in towards site, the MP9 for Zuko, but he just takes the elevator down, and suddenly it's 2-on-2.
Oh! Jinx barely gets away. 2 HP. Alec calling the audible. Sprinting it straight down through double doors, trying to cut the map in half here. If he finds his timing onto Luke, could be huge. Bomb looking to get caught on the cross, but all of the footsteps draw the attention away. Zuko able to win that duel. Alec last alive now. Just needs 1 shot to connect on this low HP player. That's exactly where he is. But yeah, you're right. 10 seconds. He's got to get on his horse to get to B with the bomb.
I wonder if Zuko can actually get there cross in time. It looks like he will be able to. Doesn't quite get full contact onto Alec. Does allow him to sight, but yeah, no time remaining. And Plant actually 2-0. Plant does go down. Good money and does take away the guns. I mean, it's a round win for DXA. Money-wise, it's not as if they're overflowing with the riches, considering did lose double M4, committed with some util MP9s, and it's going to be probably a very similar buy this round.
Yeah, this is a very weird situation actually to be in economically for both teams, because you're not going to have a comfortable buy on either team really. Like 4 MP9s on Dust 2 is not where you want to be, and then you've got 1 AK that's been juggled on over the Eagles on the second AK. Mixing his way along here, taking that opening duel, but only going 1 for 1, and the Molotov is going to keep that safe for the CT side now. Almost getting across this one. Taking some further chip damage. Lucky to be alive and to be able to keep this AK safe for the time being, as well as securing that long control for DXA is huge. But in a 4-on-4, there's still plenty of opportunities for Vantage here.
Considering DXA have got those MP9s, maybe Vantage wanting to get that a long control and use those AKs longer range, not wanting to play tons against the close range weaponry. Ultimately, though, they have been shut out of bedroom and certainly have no any A-long whatsoever. Push through tons, and suddenly Alec wanted to see if he can get some contact in towards B. Hasn't come out just yet. Prackham in a good spot, though, especially with that MP9. These are the engagements he should really be winning unless he gets timed. Jump, gives away position, flash to help over towards mid. Certainly now Alec now aware of the fact there is one holding close. MP9 so good from this position, only gets 1 headshot. KO with the trade, though, through doors, and suddenly it only drops.
CT see if he's going to be our player to watch for a reason. Putting together a 1-on-3 in beautiful fashion. Catches 2 on the cross towards doors and isn't even thinking about a bomb plant of any sort. Just wants to deal with the CT before he can even rotate and make his way out of spawn. And that's a 4K in a round that was almost certainly lost for Vantage. Now they found themselves in a position where they've reset the CT money, given themselves a lifeline to actually start dominating on this T side. If they can deal with this force buy here, especially in convincing fashion, then they're going to be off to the races. They're going to be into an anti-eco leading in terms of score and economy.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Alec. Wanted to try and get a little bit of that lower tons control, but quite heavily with a bit of contest. Not able to get a couple of kills and rightfully in an eco round. That should be quite comfortable for him, despite that. Hopefully kill going the way of DXA. Zuko, last one alive. Position known. One will go down for the 4th time in a row. Which more than anything, that's probably the concern for DXA, not able to stop these bomb plants.
Yeah, I mean, DXA right now, force buy doesn't work out for them because of the massive play from Drox. They had to even up the cash by trying to force with only one player alive on the T side. They wanted to try to take advantage of that reset potential, but not really having too much impact there. You saw 4 players surviving for Vantage. They have now got very strong money and into an anti-eco against what is going to be a weaker buy from the CTs in the next. Vantage are looking very favored on Dust 2 now, at least in the first half.
This is certainly where you want to just push that over. You know they're basically on an eco here. Only pistols. Drops though for White. Good use of the flashes and suddenly 2 have fallen for Vantage. And with that, you grab the bomb, you rotate, look in towards Ton, on towards B. Probably not the way they would like to win the round here, Vantage, but should be able to do so. AKs acquired though for Rofiko and Zuko, so they've got double AKs, low, very low on health, something to consider, but I mean, for an eco round, this is not awful.
Yeah, I think for the state of their economy, you just save the weapons.
You just
especially
save,
with how low HP the players are. They're not going to have a really good buy into the next inning. So this gives you 2 full sets of util on players that may not otherwise have them. And potential chances later on for some hero rifle buys on the eco rounds or things like that. Things continue not to go well. That's a very nice double ding. Yeah, another gun for Lucas. It's a Galil, but you'll still take it. And it's further damage onto a Vantage economy that was starting to snowball to control after winning that anti-force so cleanly. This is really kind of hamstringing them a little bit. And Lucas even trying to take more guns away if he can.
Yeah, I mean, that's a round win for Vantage, but DXA, considering the economy state they were in, Lucas unable to keep that Galil, but I think certainly the kind of gun that you could certainly risk to try and take out Jinx's AK. 3-2. DXA's economy is certainly looking a lot better now by keeping those AKs, and now they can, of course, buy up. This will be their best buy round they've really had so far inside of this first half, so much better.
Yeah, for sure. I think Zuko, 4.3 for him, is the perfect example of saving an AK in that round. It's going to give him full util, which is really going to help them do exactly the kind of things that they're doing, going and taking that long control, running these, you know, map control protocols on CT side. You get the molly with the smoke to follow up, flash over the top, secures that long control without even really investing too much util in it, and now they can kind of settle in terms of the rotations. Deep smoke onto short. And after taking that long control, you're seeing the rotation back across for the CTs who want to try to play a close setup when Vantage go and try to contest that part of the map.
Yeah, really heavy emphasis on DXA, denying the push through bedroom and then rotating back through short. So it's kind of like 3 down long, but then they rotate 2 off once they get control of it over to short where there's going to be more of a contest, keeping bodies in better positions. Big stack towards mid this round though for Vantage, but I honestly think DXA are quite set up nicely with the positions they're holding. 60 seconds, Mac 10, Alec. One to kind of watch here is maybe someone who could provide a bit of an entry point.
He's one of the boys with the full belting util. Fresh molly to Night Raid. Drops is going to crack mid open, and that's a beautiful shot from Night Raid as well. Nor on the lurk here, trying to catch the rotation back across if he can. 3 hit smoke gets refreshed, and all of the duels being won by Vantage. Even a ludicrous Mac 10 duel with an Instagoosh at that range. And that leaves Rofiko wondering where the hell the rest of the boys just went, because they all died in a matter of like 12 to 15 seconds across the map in different positions, and that gun round has gone very well for Vantage.
Yeah, intriguing considering I felt like DXA actually had decent positions. They were able to certainly watch that mid push, but ultimately just outdone, as you kind of framed it. Lost all the ones, lost all their battles. Certainly a couple of those were winnable, and this could have been the kind of game where it was a 3-on-3 or a 2-on-2. He's getting absolutely hunted. There's the jump up. There's another kill for Drox. He goes to 8. Leaving all comers at the moment. 4 rounds on the ball for Vantage, and it was only a momentary respite after the eco round for DXA, grabbing those AKs, and then kind of all just lost into that round. Certainly still money, but again, such is the nature of the CT economy, it feels like you're either forcing or you're saving. If you can't string wins in a row and get kills, it's a bit rough.
They're going to take attack. This is where those saved AKs can potentially give them access to something like a Hero M4 or Roffico and give a bit of punch to a half bar here if they want to go for it. But realistically, outside of trying to gimmick your way into a round win here, you're not going to get too much value. And I think, as I mentioned, the prominence of double AWP on this map at the moment, you might just be better off saving for a double AWP on Zuko and Roffico and getting full util in the next round.
Yeah.
You have almost no reset potential on Vantage. They've had the dream start to this T side, really. Look at the cash on all of them, like what, 6+ K for most of the boys here. So they're not running out of money anytime soon. You are still going to see the investments for DXA to try to win a round like this on an outside chance and do some economic damage here. But look, mostly looking towards the next round on full loss bonus for DXA to get something.
Yeah, don't hate it. They certainly will be able to buy into the next round, even with these purses. But it does sort of deny the ability to potentially get like an awful double up set up. Roffico, you've got to win that fight. And he does do so from short. Take one out, fall back, keep good side control, and suddenly a little bit better for DXA.
Vantage just wanting to convert this long control they've taken into an A site here. Traces being problematic there. Snore getting spammed from the A1S through the smoke. Refresh on the elevator smoke once again. Continuing to use these Molotovs to minimize risk and clear out the close positions so they can get themselves into a comfortable afterplay.
I think for DXA, it's just all about playing the retake now. They've been smoked off 2 positions. Short elevator, can't do a whole lot. All they can somewhat do is allow this plant to go down and then hope for the retake to go in their favor. Can't save this, surely. I mean, if you're Lucas, you're certainly in a position that could catch someone off guard. If York does at least catch one, there's the jump up. Maybe just momentarily could have flicked his eye away from short, but no, he gets the shots anyway. KO is able to get 1 and a second to follow in quick succession. Suddenly, then Drox falling means that this is a winnable round, but there's no time. They can't get the defuse. It's going to be a win for Vantage, but they have taken some guns away, DXA, but you were kind of making the point at the start of this round. That really doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter as much. It's still like 4 guns taken away is still meaningful, and also worth pointing out, they came into the round with 1 gun and left with 2, so they are kind of min-maxing the economy over time in a favorable manner. They would have to win a lot of gun rounds back-to-back to take advantage of the economic damage that they've done, because the money is still really healthy on the side of Vantage, and that's where the loss bonus will start to kick in. But look, we'll see what we're going to get for DXA. It'll probably take 3 or 4 really good gun rounds in a row for them to actually make an economic difference. Night Raid seeing a lot of, fingers, little bits of heads, not enough to really take a shot. He knows that the mid aggression isn't back here, and Vantage is set up and ready for it, but smoked off at top mid, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The CT's using the new short change to play a much more centralized setup, to be very aggressive in the early to mid round and disruptive to the T side, whereas on Old Dust 2, that wasn't really something you had an option for. Now you're going to be the second stage phase of that plan. Flash going to be invested to try to retake long control, but Vantage have not really done anything in this round. They're just happy to let the CTs use utility to run around the map before they choose what to do in the next minute and 10 seconds or so. They've got a ton of util, massive util advantage on the side right now.
Yeah, smoked out a bedroom, saw the mid pressure, probably didn't think best to maybe try and rush through that. Bit of an inverse there from DXA this round. Rather than, AAA long, then to short, they kind of pushed mid, got a bit aggressive, and then rotated a couple of players back over towards long bedroom. Now push coming through from Roffico. He can actually get a lot of space. He's basically saying, guys, mid, B. They can't be coming through bedroom, not going A long. And with that, DXA can be set up. Prackham back of sight here on B. It does have Some close help, though, with Lucas. 2 on the B side here for DXA, and Rofko's gone all the way. Night Raid, no idea. So much information gained. Really good push from Rofko, and they know full well it's going to be a B hit, and they are just stuck inside the tons anyway. This is the best round that we've seen from DXA so far.
Just keeps getting better. Crackham just playing peekaboo behind the plat box, not even volleyed out of position, and that's an easy one for him as well. Barely even just crosshair, and 5 alive for DXA. The best gun round we've seen from them this game. The best round we've seen from them this game. That was dominant. And this is where taking those 4 guns away is actually starting to make an impact. 1 more gun round here. They're going to start to really chip away at the bank accounts of Vantage. Probably 2 for the reset. But that would be a massive turnaround for DXA given the state that this game was in. And this is where now the double AWP has come out.
So far, both those AWPs over towards A long. One of them will definitely rotate towards short, mid side. 35 on the scoreboard. Not too bad, all things considered. DXA getting the initial just a round to go their way has helped alleviate some of this control we've seen from Vantage. And their economy for the first time not looking as swell. Really an important round here for both teams, it feels like. Right, all the way up though, short, and there is that secondary AWP that has been able to land. Rofko with a big shot. Mid control, the doors control is so much easier when you've got this AWP sitting here and knowing full well you've also got another one over towards A long. The double push through, but they completely white. Full blind. Yeah, the trade comes through, but it's a little too late. Numbers now with DXA.
Crackham losing that duel, though, does give Vantage an in into this round for a second. Still could be, but would take another massive play from someone on the Vantage side. We already had a 1v3 from Drox, so see if Nor's capable of it as well. Rotates have been pulled towards the B side of the map. You can see all of those TXs on the radar there. Dropping to CT is ludicrous.
Wow.
Given that you had a free side open for the
I thought
there,
getting bombed down there was going to be most important.
Nah, I think he obviously doesn't know the CTs aren't set up towards long and all of that business. Doesn't know the full rotates come back across, and it was a free site. But yeah, at the same time, the CT drop is pretty low percentage play. In that scenario, just wanted to try to catch one off guard and maybe reading that there was one long, one B, and that way you have the map cut in half and 2 people with that info in untradeable positions. But unfortunately, a bit of misread.
Oh, the AUG.
Yeah. Not too many AUGs in Australia, so that's why you just buy one straight from the buy menu.
More bedroom pressure, but straight up short over towards Catwalk and Zuko, trying to just delay a little bit. He doesn't want to lose his life though to an array of pistol shots. Go to scope in and try and join in on the party. Really, it's all about getting that bomb down though if you Vantage, get the money flowing over for the last couple of rounds. The eco round does eventually net them the bomb plant, but for DXA, they've certainly recovered from what felt like, you know, a little bit of a pit, bit of a hole they found themselves in midway through the opening half. They've been able to recover nicely, and they can certainly now, I feel like, close this half out in a really good fashion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is kind of the consistency thing. It's like, it's felt like Vantage was in an unlosable position, and now it feels like DXA is in an unlosable position with $1 million. So even in this half, the consistency from both of these teams is all over the shop. And you've had one team kind of dominating the first part of the half, and then the other team really flipping it on its head, which is very difficult to do, to win 3 really convincing gun rounds in a row normally, but that's just what you get sometimes. Vantage once again working the map through the B side of the map a little bit more heavenly. Seeing if Night Raid can find a pick on this player towards plat.
Intriguing jump there from Brackham and just kind of gives his position away, and with that they want to hit the go button straight through out of tons. Heo able to at least answer the initial person jumping out. Nor down through mid. Just not quite getting his feet set, and the AUG is too strong from Rofko. Low on health, 3 on 3. In fact, not really a healthy lobby at all. Triple stack mid now for Vantage.
Yeah, see what they're able to do in this 3 on 3. Once again, very kind of centralized approach. Not really using too many active lurks out bedroom or B tunnels. You've seen it once or twice out B tunnels without really kind of too much success. This time it's the contact approach towards short. That nade could be beautiful. Indeed it is. So much damage on Drox and Night Raid, and Alec goes down. that in and of itself is a lot of info, given that there's nothing present on the map towards long or mid, and you've just got to kill from the nade progression. Smoke is going to further confirm their suspicions that this is going to be a short execute.
Kia does lose his light, but Zook in a good position to trade. Did he not spot the last player? Well, now he does. Maybe got the ball, both were there. 6-5, and DXA take the lead for the first time in a while. Final round of the half coming up. Good turnaround for DXA, and in the end, I think, you know, when we kind of spoke about, I think this map pre-game, the neutral territory of it, a 6-6 would probably look about right, although that's going to be a little bit difficult for Vantage. Not quite the full pie that you would like. Galil's, Mac 10, they've certainly got decent utility, but you're going into a round with one AK. Yeah, never ideal on the T side.
Yeah. See what they're able to put together. Smoke to the double doors. Full long control taken for the Stickies, and that's just really not something you can contest. Roffelko going for a bit of a misplay. The deep Molotov has set him up for success. He turns away. Ooh, he's got the first off the shadow advantage and a second with the close range AUG shot. That is one of the benefits of running the AUG over some of the M4s, and a man advantage in a situation where he probably should have just died for free, to be honest.
He actually timed himself looking into the corner a little bit earlier and missed out on Nor walking past. That could have gone really badly. In fact, it actually worked out. I'm probably going to have to trigger discipline, though, to not shoot the first contact. Needed that trade. A big battle in mid, but it's won easily by Lucas, although somewhat low on health. And for Alec, all to do in a 1v3. At the end of this half, bomb smoked up, stuck at double doors, and that is it. 7-5, big turnaround for DXA after struggling in the first early portions of the half. They come home strong. Well, it certainly felt like Vantage had started to gain some pretty decent ascendancy in this matchup, but credit to DXA. They fought pretty bravely, got themselves back in, and so much so, got themselves back in front. 7-5 at the close of the half. Head into the second half now, Vantage on CT side. We'll see if they can somewhat emulate what we saw from DXA.
Yeah, big fight over lower dark. Already on the cards. DXA aware of this aggression. Pretty common on the pistol round to be playing these centralized setups at the moment. Aggression into lower dark as gonna go 1-for-1, and now with the B execute being kicked off and a lot of the T still towards top mid. DXA are all over the place. Bob dropped on B, one player out long, and Prackham sitting at the barrels top mid is a very disjointed state of affairs right now.
I'm just completely stuck on an island. Prackham's going to have to get absolutely juicy with it. Certainly going to need some help from Lucas. Making his way over towards doors now. And he does actually land a really big blow. That just suddenly keeps the round alive. There's still 50 seconds, of which Prackham actually says, hang on, I'm going to come double up here, because getting out of tons is just going to be virtually impossible with two watching me. I love that maneuver to rotate over, double stack together, Night Raid and Alec to hold on, and Alec spots him. But suddenly, that window boost, he's still alive. Now it's a 2-on-1. Alec, you had your chance. That chance is now gone for White, jumping down. And suddenly, they've completely... Oh, he's going to go to the knife. He ran out of bullets. What am I watching?
That was the messiest round I've seen in a while.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Like, DXA, I'm not really sure what their approach even really was on that pistol A. I think they were trying to pull rotates towards the B side of the map and then, like, saw that it was mid-aggression. Thought that maybe there was an open B site and they could take it with two. Bomb was dropped and then we end up in that situation. Like, it's just absolute spaghetti all over the place. And look, they're going to win it. They're going to win that T pistol and Vantage will have to take a single save, but it's very, very messy stuff right now, Xenox.
Yeah, that was... honestly, we've played enough rounds here. And that was the messiest round that we've seen, but the rest of them have been, yeah, somewhat decent quality, I feel like. That one, escaping... And yeah, as you said, they're going to just kind of take the knee in this round, Vantage, especially on CT's side. They don't have the choice. The T's do. You get the bomb down, you can sit the blade, even if you don't win the round. Lucas does lose his life, but it's definitely going to be a 9th round on the board for DXA, and it's starting to get crucially close. Another kill. Certainly a gun that will be acquired for Drox. Only a MAC-10, though. Would have preferred the Galil. Maybe even the AK that Keo has brought into the round. But nevertheless, not many more rounds right now for DXA, and that's going to be scary for Vantage on CT. If they can't get that economy rolling, yeah, it's going to be difficult to get themselves back into a winning position.
Yeah, next gun round, be an interesting one. Molly and, you know, some change going to be kept over for Drox. He's done his little BR loot run around the map, and he hasn't ended up with the best loot, but it'll have to do heading into the next round. DXA. Up to 9-5, they usually have pretty decent T sides. So really wouldn't be surprised if they close this game pretty concisely, unless Vantage has a good gun round or two in the next couple. MAC-10 going to be kept over. So similar to the MP9, you'll probably be seeing that given to the B anchor. And he'll probably just play sitting on top of the double stack the entire round. And if the A players die, he'll say, alright, thanks guys, I'll go next. Ooh, or maybe lower dark. No, I was going to say it would be spicy to see some lower dark aggression with the MAC-10, but unfortunate.
Oh. Night Raid losing his life that early into the round. Not ideal for a CT. That is now basically split away from each other. 2 on A, 2 on B. No mid aggression whatsoever for Vantage, which does mean for DXA they could go for a push to mid doors. We've got the pressure now towards short as well. Nor holds the close angle. M4 in hand. Tell you what though, he could be outnumbered here if they all swing together. Little pop flash and he could be dead. And here we go. Rufflecoat says, here you go boys. That should be a free kill. No. Does get at least one. He got his, Alec, now through mid doors for a bit of aggression. Knowing full well that pop flash came from Tons, he should be aware of this. Surely checks this properly, does do so. Somewhat panicked with the spray initially, but Yeah, cooled it down, calmed it. Now a 2v2, post-plant retake, 1 kit available.
Rifle picked up for Jinx as well. It's a big upgrade to be able to try to make this retake work. Smoke for the bomb. Kit on Jinx. Makes it a lot more doable. Smoke blown open by the nade. Going to help the CTs to start to scale forward here. Flash goes over the top. Beautiful stuff from Praken to set up Lucas for success. And crosshair placement good enough for Lucas to close the round as well. A 4K for him. It's a crushing blow to Vantage. We'll only have 1 gun round to keep this game competitive, or they'll be Dunskies here on Dust 2.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Not a lot you can do from short to try and clear out Goose, and ultimately, all you can really do, Molly's sight. Once you've mollied sight, you know somewhat where they might be hiding, but that pop flash is just too strong. Lucas is able to just play that perfectly. Team synergy so far from the DXA has been pretty on point. They got 10-5, and with that, it's essentially an eco round, 2 MP9s. See if you can get a little bit lucky, maybe take a couple of guns. It was kind of at this point, you think back opening half, this is where DXA got that really good round where they stole quite a lot of guns with just a couple of MP9s and pistols. Zuko shuts that down though. One of the MP9s on the floor, not where you want it, one in a hand. The doors, there is a push in through tons. Rufflecoat outnumbered. Okay, maybe a chance here, a spell, as you take out Zuko, who can't make his way up short. 3-4 in favor of Vantage. They can acquire some guns. They're at a point, though, they cannot allow these rounds to keep slipping away. They might have to go for this.
Gonna have to go quick. A lot of time ticked off the bomb here. No kids for the CT side. Crossfire between Lucas and Keo. Prakem flanking all of these players, scaling up short. So it's a recipe for disaster here. As far as the CT is concerned, late lurk coming in through long, and it all gets cleaned up for DXA. So swatting away a scary situation with relative ease. And now a dominant scoreline for Vantage to make up here. It's got to start here with this first gun round, but their consistency round to round has got to be very, very solid to try to bring this game back, because they've put themselves in a pretty poor position despite a really good start in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, that was the free hit, so you can't, I guess, feel too awful. The issue is, though, you're just at a point now where you're down 5-11. You can't really look at that scoreboard, though. You've got to just take it 1 round at a time. This is your first real opportunity, feels like, on the CT side. And DXA want to just go fast, out of tons, despite the Molotov, despite the frag. Keo, can he get into a position to find the next kill? If he does do so, certainly good B-site control, but jumping down smartly is Jinx. Doesn't play over towards window, instead just gives it up and play the retake. That's where you've got to be careful with your Vantage, because you don't want to be losing guns and losing players.
Look at Zuko. Active lurk up short. Further util to slow these players down.
Oh,
An easy 2K
my.
for him. That's the round done and dusted. And that's probably the game done and dusted, to be honest. Big's able to take him out, but this position retake.
Oh, hang on.
Very low percentage. I didn't realize there was 2 players coming through upper dark, actually. I thought it was like a 3-on-1.
One.
Huge shot from Rob.
Oh, he's got it. He's got kit.
Trade, yeah. They managed to put it together, Vantage. Just at the last second, I thought the game was done right there when you got the 2 kills from the active lurk, but I completely misread that Vantage was the team with the player advantage, I think, at that point in the round. So, able to put it back together. It's an expensive round for DXA, but one that they'll have the money to recover from.
Yeah, I mean, the one downside, though, of your Vantage as well, yes, you won the round. You did lose 4 guns, though. You're just not in that position. Look at the utility. It's not quite all there. Full util for Jinx, and that's about it. Yes, everyone's got M4s, but no more AWP. You're not really still operating at full capacity, even despite winning that round. 6-11. Definitely going to need another one here. Potentially steal that AWP away from Keo. SG in hand as well for Rufflecoat. One thing that I feel like for Vantage is not quite getting the full map control the way we saw it from DXA. You know, they pushed through his bedroom and starting to really kind of shut down a lot of the map. Well, it does get a pretty decent kill there, and Jinx in a good position. That's the AWP on the floor as well. And a second? No, can't follow through. Good kill from Rufflecoat. 2-on-4 in favor of Vantage.
Bomb's got to be retrieved, though. And as you mentioned, big numbers advantage for Vantage on the CT side here, and with how out of position the bomb is, despite taking this B control, you know, Vantage, we'll see what kind of approach they're going to have to this retake. Before the smoke gets refreshed, they might just flood on the tap. Flanks coming in slowly but surely for Night Raid as well, which is something they're going to have to be cognizant of as well.
Night Raid lurking in behind, in through tons. Ruffleco gives it a peek, doesn't spot what he's looking for. There's the push through. Zuko maybe expecting a push over through doors. Does get one, and then a third has now been found into a 1v1. Drops on top, continues to jump on top and gets the headshot and gets the kill. Wow. 2 spicy, dicey rounds in a row. And in both of them, 1v1s that have gone the way of Vantage to keep this alive, 7-11.
Yeah, I mean, really scraping these rounds over the line.
That AWP is nice, though.
2.5, 2.7, yeah, movement up on top of the Heaton box. Lovely to see. It's another big round for Drox. You can't buy here, lads. I mean, one player survived, so they are going for the reset into the win, basically. But yeah, they are just going to half buy with the hero AK on Bracken, which is a bit more of a sensible approach. Need to make sure they're keeping this economic damage coming onto Vantage. Not control being contested. Flashes were a little out of place, though, when AK gets dropped early.
Up, though. Drox gets another freebie, though. Jiggle peek just a little bit too far, gives it away. Zuko then swings back out. Easy dash. AK still in hand. 4 white Drox, and he's going to stave. Night Raid does get the kill on to Lucas, and so far this is a pretty comfortable round for Vantage. And the hero AK so far has not even been able to really fire a shot. Comfortable round coming up for Vantage. 8-11. Comeback looking a little bit more likely, considering as long as they don't lose anyone in this round, this is where you can get the economy to start just flowing a little bit. Fill the caches. But DXA, of course, they've started to feel pinched just a little bit, forcing this economic round. Here now, it's probably just a question of really... I mean, I don't know. You know you're probably not going to be able to keep this AK. Can you do some damage? That's really the main takeaway. AWP on the floor. Takes away at least one gun. They'll acquire the AWP once again, but it is an M4 left behind. Doesn't matter too much. I think Vantage is certainly a little bit happy with the way things are proceeding.
Yeah, 100%. That was recovery for Vantage. 4 guns staying alive. Going to give them a potential chance to recover from the reset round and still try to fight for overtime if DXA finally puts a gun round together, but these have not looked like particularly competitive rounds. And
this is going to be another eco round.
Yeah, they actually over-invested in the last round, which was why I was kind of saying, like, I'm surprised they bought the economy management there from DXA was definitely not where it needed to be, and they really are not, for the amount of investment they've put into these last couple of rounds on the T side, they have really not gotten any kind of fruitful results. No guns taken away really outside of one, and again, after an exchange of utility, they've gotten some short control, but they need to leverage this mid/short control into some kind of short execute or mid to B play where they can get their boots on the ground into the site and use the pistols well.
CT smoked off, leaves Halleck a little bit by his lonesome, but he does his job nicely by finding 2 kills, and eventually through the smoke, a bit of help does arrive.
Yeah.
It's like here by himself. I think is at least primed to be able to buy it AWP in the next round, so it will be 11-9.
This is exactly, that round is exactly why you can't go mid to B in the early to mid round in the current meta. Like, you can't play it like it's CSGO. When you throw those mid to B smokes, like in the early mid round when there's still HEs present, you just, HE gets popped right inside the smoke, you're running up B ramp and you're just getting shot from like 3 different angles. Like, you really just cannot do that. That's why you see, like, even in the old meta of CSGO, you would get the mid to B smokes drip feeded out to try to trade out utility, to try to get the flashes with the scale through the smoke or something like that in the early to mid round. But particularly in the current state of affairs, I feel like mid to B, early to mid round, like we just saw it, although it was with the pistols, is kind of suicidal, to be honest.
It's the same idea, it's the same concept. You know, back and go, certainly could be a case of sometimes the odd spray through or maybe a bit of a lurk and smoke criminal here or there, but ultimately a little bit more safer nowadays. Yeah, as you said, 1 HE and suddenly you can just see everyone.
Yeah.
Especially
well-timed HE just shuts the round down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for DXA, to be fair, I don't think they're splitting hairs too much from that round. They've been able to reset their economy. All 4 AKs, good utility. Certainly a round in which both teams are going to be far more evenly set up. 11-9.
Yep.
Jump through.
No one caught on the cross. Long control taken by Vantage, and that is just not something you can do. You cannot be knife out going through Suicide with the new short jump up. That is just asking to be losing picks running through the map.
Yeah. Good pop flash. Night Ray takes a shot, falls back. Knows he's definitely not winning that one if he stays. I haven't seen a lot of bedroom control here from DXA on the T side. They've really let that one just kind of go by the wayside. It means Vantage don't have to commit too much, nor just holds a close angle. With that, you got 2 on A, 2 on B. Once again, going through mid doors, but once again, we end up in the situation. CT smoke, HE in hand for drops. Goes to the molly first. He knows they haven't really crossed. Lucas does actually get No, who went for the push through. We haven't seen Vantage go for that kind of push, and finally they go for it, and it falls apart. Opens up the site. Opens up the map, I should say.
That was the worst position to do it in as well. You're 5 on 4. That is the swing position on the wing. You've lost all of that control, which is going to cause a ripple effect in terms of the rotations now. You already had a setup heavily leaning on the fact that you had that long control. That's a hell of a shot from Night Raid.
Did he just shoot it through the post?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a replay of that. I know it's not going to happen, though. And DXA now going to try to get this long control take into an A-side after plan if they can. Beautiful shot from Zuko. Alec catching them on the cross a little bit. Dear Lord, this dude must have a small crosshair, dude. So, because he's just hitting shots at long range like nothing.
Oh, they're going to go B. Oh, this is so smart. Love this because of the push through coming from Roffelco. Knows that mid completely open. Not on B. Jinx is just wondering, oh, God. Thought he had the big play coming in from A long. Running and on the cross, watching Roffelco. Does get the tag to land. Jinx is in a world of hurt here. Not a whole lot it can realistically do. I think this is going to be a 12th round for DXA. Vantage are going to be kicking themselves. Certainly a round which they could have, should have won.
Oh, the Molly's going to keep it safe. He had a timing window to sneak through doors there and kill Zuko and then potentially defuse. But unfortunately, doesn't find it. Didn't know that Roffelco was in mid doors to begin with. And there you go. There's the one round. As we mentioned before, though, Vantage have done good enough stringing these rounds together, keeping their economy nice and stable. So at least for them, even on minimum loss bonus, it's not the end of the game as soon as they lose a round. They still can try and fight for overtime here.
Certainly achievable. Definitely have to put that last round out of your head, and now you're going to be also second guessing. Do we want to go and push through things like Veto? Could then give a bit more of an onus for DXA to be aggressive there, but no, through tons. That's an early life loss. Roffelco going for a somewhat early peak in this round. We haven't seen a whole lot of that kind of aggression. DXA being quite calculated in their approach, a lot of mid control, lower tons, instead of a peak, and it has cost them. Here does find one back, flash, pop, Nor looks away, still holds the angle, he's got a bit of help here as well. So double stack shot on the CT side here for Vantage, and they can only walk away with one. Needed at least 2 minimum. Zuko slow, same with Prackham. Certainly still winnable for Alec and Jinx, but honestly, their positions right now, they're not in the best position. It's going to be retake, hope for the best. They make contact towards Car, and at the very least, some really good contact as Lucas is low. All 3 now for DXA in a bothersome position.
Open plant. Going to try to play the after plant from long if they can. Lucas has got a heads up duel. He has to wing versus Jinx. And going to play the off angle really well. Great positional play from him. And Alec now left in a pretty untenable 1-on-3. No kit for him. He needed to pick up that kit. It's right there on the ledge. He's not going to pick it up. And now I unfortunately think he's not going to have time. Not that he would have anyway. 2 flashes over the top. A double peek is going to close it out for DXA. And they win themselves up. I would say a pretty convincing game of Dust too. You really set themselves up early for success when they were up 11-5, but Vantage did a good job kind of fighting it back a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was a quite fascinating game ultimately for DXA. I think they made less mistakes. It might be the best way to actually phrase it there. I think when you kind of look at Vantage's perspective, there's a couple of rounds in which they just made some critical errors that certainly had the cost effect where they then subsequently lost those rounds. And it really goes back to that kind of like push through bedroom, for example, that I think really just turned the tide for that particular round. And yeah, credit for DXA. They certainly looked a little bit better as well, I think, on both sides of the map, respectively. Their T side, I felt like they were able to get good control. On their CT side, they were certainly playing bedroom and long a lot better, and then the double up towards short. Drox was our watch, and, well, he didn't disappoint. I thought he had a pretty decent game and certainly was involved.
Yeah, he had a massive 1-on-4 on the B side, which is actually, I think, what really allowed Vantage to be so competitive in the first half, and DXA still did kind of turn that around and make it their half after that initial clutch, which had so much impact in terms of the economy. And I think in that second half as well, DXA really running out to an early lead, but despite Vantage, fighting it out, they just didn't really have enough rope. So look, we'll see if DXA can snag themselves the 2-0 here today, or whether it will end up being 1-1, because it can really go either way, Xenox.
Yeah, certainly can. Absolutely could go either way. I think Vantage, had they been able to perform a little bit better, they would have felt they could maybe take that map. They'll have to do so, though, in the next map to come on Mirage after the break. So DXA ended up taking the opening map. It wasn't too convincing. It was certainly a decent game. I think from Vantage's perspective, they'll look at it as certainly a bit of a missed opportunity. Had they played a little bit better in certain moments, they could have forced OT, maybe even won it themselves. But it certainly followed the script, Pilsky. That's probably the way we set it up coming into this matchup. Two teams that pretty neutral, could certainly win either way. Certain players will pop off, then maybe not pop off, and I think pretty much we hit everything on the head there. And now heading into Mirage here, as we can see sort of the veto process down below for the second map, I think a lot of that is going to follow true going into the second map now.
Yeah, I think, Dust 2, you've seen some performances from both these teams against some of the stronger teams in the competition, and that's kind of a little bit of a yardstick you can use, so to speak. And I think you can say the same about Mirage, where look, you've had an OT loss for Vantage against Rooster, although Rooster seem like they're up and down at the moment, especially given the result that we had in a different competition tonight. And then for DXA, they played it a couple of times. I think they've beaten Mindfreak on this map, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, they took a Mirage game off of Mindfreak, which is pretty good because Mindfreak seems like they're in great form at the moment. So, but then again, they lost to Mindfreak and lost to Rooster the month before that. So up and down, up and down. See who's going to take it at the end of the day. But regardless, with both of these teams in similar positions in the league, these BO1s are very, very important to win, because you really want to try to avoid getting relegated. You really want to maintain your spot in the league and maybe even try to steal yourself a spot in playoffs if you can. And you need every map win you can get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking at some of the stats. 3 times played on Mirage versus just the 1, respectively, for Vantage. So I think coming into it, considering DXA have already won the opening map, I think overall certainly looked like the better team when you kind of look at the whole game holistically. Certainly there were moments from Vantage that they were good. Goes back to that consistency question. Can they do that for long enough? Now going over to Mirage, that's going to be the question. They're going to have to be not only a little bit better, but certainly be able to put that together for longer periods. I think DXA certainly played both sides of the coin better, T side, CT side, as I was saying before the break, and Mirage is really not going to be all that different respectively. So I know we both went for Vantage coming into this series, and I'm going to flip it. I'm going to be flipping it. DXA just looked a little bit better on Dust 2, and I think they should be able to get the chocolates here on Mirage.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Vantage, outside of clutch here and there, or a big impact when not to have kind of like follow-on ramifications in terms of the economy, and some decent rounds on the CT side here and there, they didn't really look that competitive, whereas DXA, they were able to overturn a couple of situations that were disadvantageous for them, and in general, with a more consistent team, gun round to gun round. Either way, into Mirage now. Vantage going to set themselves up for an A-site play, full execute being prepped here by Nor and Night Raid, and DXA. Very heavy B set up from them. Underpass push is going to confirm it's not going to be a B here, and the smoke's flying in, spotted by Praken, means that this is going to be early into a retake scenario for the CTs, who will set up a net around the map, try to get some spam kills through the smoke, and it's really up to Vantage to try to set themselves up into a good afterplant.
Yeah, a little bit of commitment, but you get the bomb plant. Pretty much should get that bomb plant 9 times out of 10 with a setup like that. It's just going to be the retake now. You're not really set up for that. You're kind of all just huddled in on the site, which does mean, yeah, DXA can come in through jungle, come in through ticket. Oh, nice shot there from Alec, but he does get traded immediately. A couple of good kills for Lucas on the tap, and that is going to be Zuko as well with a kit, but he does get denied by Drox. Really nicely done. And suddenly in a bit of a pickle here for Kier, because he's just trying to maybe either find the kit inside of the smoke. Certainly not all the time. He's made his way out of it in the 1v2. It is going to be a round win for Vantage. Not only do they get the bomb down, they get the round win as well. That was a decent effort from Drox to eventually take out that round himself, because I'll tell you what, if he doesn't stop Zuko there in the smoke, which he wasn't far away from being able to complete that defuse, that would have gone the way of DXA.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a solid retake attempt for DXA, just getting a little unlucky. I think spamming through the smoke in the afterplant with Glocks usually doesn't go your way, so little fortunate for Vantage, especially given the fact they didn't even go for an open plant. Like, it was a plant, CT side of triple, so limited options where you can defend that from. You had to get the wide swing out Palace and things like that to actually convert. Smoke to window. being tickled a little bit by Lucas, who's trying to spot out the cross. It's a big stack on middle here for the CTs with nothing but USPs.
Swing out there from Con, from Bracken. Talk about the timing. Just as top mid was about to be hidden behind, and yeah, this is going to be an easy round win for Vantage now. A little rush through Con, doesn't matter. Bit of help anyway from short side, and spots out exactly where Lucas is going to be sitting. So 2-0. Buy round coming up now for DXA. Straight into the ult for Keo as well.
Yeah, gonna have to go glass cannon for that one. Bit more limited on the util for DXA heading into the open gun round as expected, but not as much of an issue on Mirage as it is on other maps. Early smokes to window and top mid here for Vantage. It's gonna run a bit of a default. Nor left on an active lurk towards ramp. Underpass control being taken here by the T's, who will look for some con control in the mid round. And DXA's response to that is the, I'm assuming, bricks boost and ladder position. So they want to be disruptive in the mid round to this mid control.
Yeah, we just have the ult posted up in towards apps. No movement from Keo. Roffico, certainly the one that will make probably best contact from this position on bricks. Jump up from Alec. Was that spotted? Well, now he knows he's on the bench. Just waiting to see if he's going to make his movement towards Con. Trigger discipline's pretty good. I think he wanted a little bit more, but so much time had already passed that he eventually had to get those shots, and does do so by finding 2. Remember, Orpid adds to Keo, so I'm not sure if he's going to be one to try and salvage the mission. It will be a save. He is going to be a 3rd round for Vantage.
It's good stuff from Roffico. That's about 300 damage to the other team, but no one else really doing very much heavy lifting, unfortunately, for DXA in that round. They had the read right, just not really connecting the shots from ladder room or from connector. And with the A site players getting active and such a clean entry out the A side of the map, Vantage is able to win that first gun round. And once again, reset that CT economy. Put them back down on a half buy around an AWP, but look, pistols and armor around an AWP can definitely be a dangerous prospect to navigate.
You want to hunt the AWP, but also at the same time, it's maybe the best weapon to be able to hold these kind of angles. Everyone swings late, you're probably going to get the kill. I think they do best to actually just hold off. Everyone's quite low, keep the AKs. Nothing start. Yes, they do keep that AWP, but when you kind of look at what's available around it for DXA, not a lot, right? It's almost like hero AWP territory.
Yeah.
But they've got to actually beg the question, do you just force up here, play around the AWP, or do you know, keep the money tight?
No, you're just going to go down, buy down to 2k.
Yep.
You get like pistols, armor, bit of util. They're going mostly for deagles. And then, you know, you usually want to see the AWP get active somewhere or just stack one side with the pistols and the AWP on the other. Fash is picture perfect. And by all rights, Keo should probably be dead. The A ramp contact getting involved in the action now. Brackham has slipped into Palace though. But outside of that, there's not really too much going on in this round for DXA unless Keo goes huge with this AWP. And although he'll catch one outside A ramp, definitely not ready for the active lurk up comp.
Yeah, no one else has got guns either, just a couple of deagles. Now, ultimately, Keo very fortunate that he was able to stay alive there. Full white, yes, sitting in front of the smoke, but was able to fit back into it, nor just getting tagged. So where's that from? 5-7 for Roffico. It's going to be a 4th round here for Vantage on the T side of Mirage, which is a really decent start. Good response as well to Dust 2. I know I was saying it kind of like during the break and during the on-desk segment, but I really do feel like there was probably a couple of rounds they would have been kicking themselves. I think when I kind of look at these two teams, I know it's a very small sample size, Filsky, but there's not a lot separating them. So when you yourself just make a couple of errors here or there, it's going to be compounded because there's not a lot separating. So great start, but now DXA, of course, will be able to buy into this particular round. AWP again as well for Keo. So certainly a big round, good utility. And a good chance now for DXA to get on the board. Remember, they started a little slow on Dust as well, then got going.
Yep. Had a similar start for Vantage on Dust, so DXA have definitely earned the benefit of the doubt here. Can see Keo trying to isolate that active lurk over on A ramp, and The same can be said for Night Raid over on the B side of the map, looking to try to pick that B anchor, but neither one of these AWPers will find success early on. Deep smoke just to be able to shut this A side defaulter out of the round for DXA. Vantage in the meanwhile, after not finding the pick towards the B side of the map and being shut out the A side of the map, the wings are not really an option, and they'll have to get a little bit more active in middle.
Refreshed smoke in towards window. Yeah, still now holding this line. Has actually swapped out with Zuko. Who's also playing the close contact potentially for an Axe rush. And the AWPs get busy around the map for both teams, but it does favour Vantage. Kyo can at least hold the short push, but through Con I think is exactly where Vantage may elect to push in towards. An A site that is now a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, T's are just waiting for a mistake right now. They know the CTs have been denied information. They've got the middle of the map. They've got an active lurk over towards the A side of the map. Roffelko has got to go huge in his position, and 1-for-1 is not going to be good enough, despite the bomb being dropped. Vantage slowly starting to clear out this A site and trying to get themselves comfortable. Lucas seems like he wants to try to contest this one.
Oh, Kyo, I think the timing here. Jinx just over towards ladder room. That's a dangerous position to push into. Oh, he doesn't deny in time. Lucas does get the kill. Does get the second kill. And does actually have a kit. So, very winnable for DXA. And certainly Jinx with a lot to do coming in from ladder through Con. Does actually have some decent utility to try and maybe salvage this mission. Frag grenade, Molotov, Kyo from behind. Should be aware of this, making a lot of sound, but he checks out Con nicely. Good round win for DXA, and some similarities to Dust 2 creeping in that round, I think, as they're on the board.
Great patience for Lucas. If he dives into the smoke and tries to go for the defuse early, the HE will clean him up. So, not that he's aware of that, obviously, but giving Kyo some time to cook, ends up paying off pretty big for DXA, who, by all rights, probably shouldn't have been allowed to win that round. That was going the way of Vantage quite heavily, especially in the 4-on-3 with full mid control. They're able to 1-for-1 that player on the A side. They just needed to close out the after plant a little more cleanly. Maybe assuming that the CTs would be going for a save and then caught off guard and punished, unfortunately.
Yeah, counter aggression in mid now from DXA. They got the money. They know that they can certainly play a little bit more heftily in towards mid from short towards catwalk. Deny a little bit of this mid control that Vantage have certainly had. Well, the advantage of, and that's a nice kill for Prackham in towards a ramp and does get the kill into Norm. Picks up the gun. He gets to upgrade, and suddenly DXA with some pretty good control around the map. They are not really giving Vantage much room to breathe at all. Stuck top mid. There's the window smoke again. But with short and Con pressure, it's really hard to push forward and gain a whole lot. Lucas will creep in. He'll be forced back, but stays in Con.
This is going great for DXA. Always good to mix in those aggressive plays towards ramp off the back of a flash. And you can see they've been trying to isolate that aggressive A lurker a lot of times. There's the flash over the top, and the crunch between the Con and the short player ends up going 1-for-1. So just continuing to extend the advantage. Alec now, you saw him on the aggressive lurk towards B tunnel. Same role here on Mirage, trying to find that anchor, open up the extremities in the mid round. But once again, they're ready for him and they punish him accordingly. We'll take another massive clutch and an ace for Drox to win this round for Vantage.
Don't think he's going to be able to achieve that. Best bet would be maybe getting bombed down. Nice kill, but he doesn't prepare himself for the close angle. And Zuko able to finish it off. M4 upgraded over to the AK, 2-4. Now on the scoreboard. Bomb not going down means money is tight for Vantage. Only 3k, most likely buy down to 2. Go for a bit of a save here.
Yeah, a couple of hero rifles in the mix and probably some upgraded pistols as well. So it'll be a buy that has some potential. Definitely want to get some economic damage done in a round like this. There's probably some NSs going on in the chat there for Drox picking that big site player on the jump spot. Oh, Kyo misses that shot, even goes back for more.
It's spread out in mid. Yeah, Kyo very fortunate. This was the kind of round that Vantage maybe don't have full weaponry available. It's been pretty light work, even considering the money invested in the round 4. Vantage buying down to 2k, still brought in a couple of AKs, upgraded guns, like you said. Nevertheless, though, it's been all pretty comfortable. It will very likely be a third round coming for DXA.
Yeah.
Can't help but feel as well mentally for Vantage. This is where you kind of have to put Dust 2 completely out of your mind. Don't think about, oh, it's another good start. But ultimately, a very similar outcome potentially on the cards here. Next round's going to be a very, very important one.
They need to get some guns taken away here. They cannot let DXA stabilize their economy with 4 alive. Like 2 or 3 more kills would make a world of difference for Vantage. They're just biding their time in A ramp. Another rifle's been picked up, but no armor for Night Raid. Keo very low here. He's just watching the jump up towards stairs from Tetris. And it's a contact approach out sandwich here for both of these players' advantage.
Spotted inside a jungle, trapped him with a Molotov. He's strong and should be able to finish off a low HP Keo. Jump over though, too good for Rufflecoat. From stairs, and clears out sandwich position, 3 to 4, as expected. Did lose a gun though, an extra one, but probably Vantage would have needed to take a little bit more to put more of a dent in. Still not awful looking economy for DXA.
Yeah, pretty neck and neck game we've got right now. DXA once again consistent enough round to round, starting to turn things back in their favor. Gun round for Vantage here, once again going for the 1-3-1. They really haven't changed up their approach at all. Just very much running the similar looking kind of default, round in, round out. No pace changes really to speak of. And you can see DXA benefiting from that, going once again for a disruptive approach. Deep info line down B apps here with the AWP, and multiple riflers centralized around middle, looking for picks in the mid round, looking to disrupt this default.
So for the mid smoke to stop the con rush out rather than the initial window smoke.
Oh, that must have been a hell of a shot for Alec.
Yeah, it does find one on to Keo. Bomb still in through mid, so there are options available for Vantage, but you can see on the mini map that of course Nor just pulling back from that A ramp position. And with that kill over towards apps, maybe a weakened B site, but I think this is again Vantage similar to the early portion of this half, just kind of just sitting, seeing does DXA make a mistake here.
Yeah, they got the man advantage. They know that picking that B apps AWP is going to pull the rotations back across, and in fact, looking for info in the mid round, looking to try to turn around their fortunes. DXA aggressing into middle, Lucas. A 3K for Lucas, but it ends up in a 2-on-1 here. Still numbers for Vantage, and Rufflecoat got to see if he can find some magic. Mollied off, going to reposition back towards middle. Is that an open plant? Oh, smoked off, so at least a little more safe, Xanox.
Yeah. Tell you what, you have an A4 there, might have been a 4K. Rufflecoat, 1v2, does have kit, will go for this, has to clear out sandwich. Over towards, I presume, Hal or Palace side. Yeah, Hal indeed. Yeah, this is so tough, but Alec caught unaware on the stairs position, nor though with a very easy trade. 3 to 5. That was a little bit spicy, courtesy of Lucas on the 3K. Gets the double digits, 10-6. Yeah, the A1S though, in the end, that was the difference maker. Just ran out of bullets. Would have got that 4th kill.
Attack timeout for DXA. Only one player left alive in the server means we end up in a swing round here. Both teams broke without the loss bonus to recover from losing this round, so could be huge for Vantage. They win this, they could be up 7-3, potentially a really dominant T half that they missed the opportunity on Dust 2, or if the DXA win this, likely going to be a bit more closer of a storyline to what we got on Dust. AWP's been dropped over to Keo. Someone's going to have to go without, probably Prackham down to a pistol or an MP9 here, but still a decent enough buy to get it done for DXA. Little lighter on the util, but the same can be said for Vantage here. Ooh, they're changing it up this time, or are they going for this default with the push through unders?
Might be unders, yeah. Something.
Yeah.
2 top, 2 unders, most likely 1 maybe apps, a little bit of a contest.
Look at the push through Palace, very active stuff for DXA, trying to utilize the AWP to get a kill on the cross in middle. And Rufflecoat's got full A info. Lucas is just tearing mid apart through connector, time and time again. Missed shot from Keo. Missed a couple of shots this game.
Roffel's going to get bombed very soon. Making some really good headway over towards that T-spawn push. Vantage, absolutely no idea whatsoever. Maybe the issue with unders, you do give up a lot of that map control, and credit to DXA. This is somewhat what they were able to do as well back on Dust 2. These kind of pushes, these kind of plays. That's bomb control now for DXA, by the way, regardless of what happens with this short push. That's a triple kill, though. Well, I say regardless, Pilski. It's still a big factor. Bomb in the hands of DXA, but a triple kill towards short does leave DXA a little bit empty-handed here. Prackham makes his way over MP9. Easy kill through TV. No, Alec is switched on. To even expect that. Probably doesn't expect Roffel to be top mid, but a 1v3. Bomb still in no man's land. 35 seconds. Doesn't matter. All from Jinx is too accurate. A strange old round, but credit to Vantage, because I tell you what, I think they lose that back on Dust too, but they pull it through here on Mirage.
That was crazy. Like, that was all going the way of DXA. The mid aggression worked perfectly for them. Lucas got the opener and a lot of damage, and they had a flank, which found the bomb. But Vantage, they convert that mid control in combination with a really well-timed flash up onto short, and Alec, he's 6 and 9, but like some of these kills have been so impactful. He's able to pick Keo on the AWP the previous round, which caused a massive rotation. That round, he's able to come out apps on the perfect timing in conjunction with the short push, which absolutely wipes the CTs and puts them in a winning position that really, from a 4-on-5 with all A control and the bomb lost, you really shouldn't be winning. So that's massive, especially in a swing round like that, which bankrupts the CTs. That is going to be worth its weight in gold for Vantage.
Putting in a really good shift on the T side now, Vantage. Bringing the AWP into powers, but he actually doesn't get the kill on the initial shot, and with that loses his life. That's now suddenly a moment that goes the way of DXA. They haven't had too many of them here on Mirage, but it's an AWP in the hand of Roffelco. Can certainly help out on the A side, and I do wonder for Vantage, they now know on an eco round that AWP's on the A side of the map. Do we draw our attention towards B? But so far, not a lot of movement. They haven't actually gained a lot of space here.
Look at the movement from Roffelco
as well. This is actually quite winnable for DXA.
Yeah, for sure. He's making his way back away from the area that he was spotted, because you're right, that logic does apply. You assume that the AWP's being run on the CT, on the A side of the map for the CTs. And they're going to start contacting B, but he hasn't rotated towards B. He's just... I really don't like that he's watching Murder Hole with the most powerful weapon in the round right now.
Shift to market.
Yeah.
I think he will with the contact of that Molotov. An easy swing over towards market for Roffelco, and he's going to be very important to find at least one. Volley over towards Sandwich. No, not quite hitting these shots effectively. They start to just flood out of apps though, but it's actually Prackham that actually gets the close kill onto Nor. Drops, finds a way towards bench, and suddenly only 2 up now for Vantage. So they lost the battle on A. They've lost the flood out really towards apps. Jinx, though, does at least get another kill onto Keo. Haven't fully cleared out this bench position, and the AWP doesn't find the kill on the planter. 2-on-2 with an AK for Lucas. Double stack towards short. And Jinx is able to find the initial kill on the contact, and suddenly Vantage are going to find a way to win this round again.
Yep. Lucas, no armor, so aim punch, a real concern for him. And Vantage giving him absolutely nothing, no kit to work with, so this round's already done. It's really just a question of damage right now for Lucas, and he's able to take one more gun away, so it's an expensive round for Vantage, but still a round nonetheless. And I really have to say, after Night Raid missed that many shots and hands over an AWP in Palace, you needed to be more active with it. Like, you needed to go and take some duels with the AWP. You can't just be sitting watching Murder Hole for the rest of the round. Got to get active with a powerful weapon in a round where you have less chances to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're also in a position where no one else on your team really has the weaponry to, well, be active with. They've got pistols. You could, if anything, maybe play off of someone, but they're just kind of sitting there. Did make good timing for the rotate towards market, but then still couldn't get a market kill. Here does get a kill though with the AWP onto Jinx. This is really must-win territory now for the final 2 rounds of this half for DXA. Got to find a way to get to 5 here on the CT side of Mirage. And with the losses starting to pile up, they find that they want to get aggressive.
Yeah. They need to start to change the narrative if they can, and they're going to use Lucas as a crowbar to open up mid yet again. Prackham's found a kill with the secondary AWP. That's been a bit of a change-up as well for DXA that's worked out a treat, and Vantage left reeling. It's getting a bit readable at this point. That Alex just walking out the extremity 2 maps in a row on T side every round. They're very clearly aware of that. Very clearly just posted up waiting for him. That's where you need to be a bit more creative.
Jock's now known into Axe. So a 4th round found from DXA. And
look at the money for Vantage. That is not where you want to be fighting for the last round of the half, bro.
I mean, to be fair, they've had a couple of round wins that have been scraped together off the back of some really good starts to a round for DXA that Vantage then had to kind of claw back.
All of that damage done in the round where they lost the AWP in Palace has really come back to haunt them.
Yeah. I mean, main thing is they've got the round wins. That's all you can kind of take away. The money, the economy, irrelevant after this round anyway, going into the second half. 7 T-side rounds here. Mirage could be good. 8 would be amazing. Only AK, though, is with Drox over towards ARAM.
It's a contact approach. Just walking their way up on in. Spotted by Lucas, who's been having a hell of a game. Peeking out from Firebox is Roffelco. Prackham catching them on the cross. And the multi-frag from Roffelco is what he made his name doing in some of his opening couple of teams. Night Raid coming up con late into the round, but no chance of winning that one. DXA will scrape a 5th together at the end of the first half.
So a pretty solid T side for Vantage has got them the lead, 7-5. Minuscule one, but one nevertheless, especially after losing out Dust 2 by a small margin. Those margins do add up. CT for them now. And a very important pistol round as always. A couple of jewelries in hand for Night Raid and Jinx. And I think for DXA, certainly the onus is going to be on them to kind of pick up where they left off from Dust 2. That first half didn't have quite the same vibes. They made more mistakes. They were a little bit more prone to error.
Let's see if this is tack timeout or just another pause with the HUD doing things. I'm going to get into it though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes the HUD is like, says it's attack though, and it's not. Yeah. And it's a bit weird to take attack before the pistol. Yeah, it's just normal. It's just a normal pause where someone's probably whinging about something, AU, internet, etc. But after all said and done, should be getting into things. A lot of typing in the chat. I can guarantee 75% of that's Rufflecoat. Which, look, for all the talking he's doing in all chat, he's also backing it up in the server, to be fair. Looking like just an A-set play here for DXA with the one set of util, so only a jungle or a con smoke and flashes up over the top. Similar to what we saw in the last round, actually. Vantage through unders, push on B apps, we'll play full retake on A.
Yeah, I mean, I like this, right? You get the apps control early with that. You pretty much know for what's going to be an A hit. There's the rotate come through. USPs, play the long angles. You got Julies though as well for the initial apps push. It's pretty nicely done setup for Vantage. You got to win the post plant though, of course, when you kind of do employ a strategy like this. It's certainly going to be a factor. Love the close angle here on the Julies though, Night Raid over the ramp. Should be able to win this out. Does do so comfortably. Yeah, I tell you what, I like that from Vantage. Might try and steal that one for the, let's steal that one for the boys.
Stack. Xenox calling the strats. I saw this game in an ESL Challenger game.
Well, we've got a T-side strat, but we don't have a CT side. T-side, the idea is we send triple stack through apps, rush, 2 over towards Palace with the bomb. Sounds ridiculous. Works every now and then. Always gets the bomb plant.
And you buy a second round. Big brain. Yeah, look. I feel like we just see a lot of the same pistols nowadays. Not too much creativity anymore, unfortunately.
There's so much you can do in a game that's...
Look, if I saw
it... Come on.
Nah, you could be creative. They just don't want to be. Look, your stack is more creative than any of the pistols that I've seen in Challenger for the last, like, 4 years. And Champs. Like, that is actually a more creative strat. So, look, honestly... I've already seen Xenox in the server for Valorant. Was quite impressed. Let's put him in CS as well and see what happens.
I think that's a different Xenox. Come on, mate.
No, it's not. Come on. I know you're in the server fragging away. I saw you on player cams.
Should be
Drock's having a good game.
I was actually going to mention that. You were talking about Rockleco and I kind of panned over and I was like, well, Vantage is kind of fragging out. Or Lucas.
Way!
Just not
you can't get that. You can't get away with that, bro. Come on. You cannot let him get away with that. He's sitting on the window.
Oh my goodness. Drox, come on now. Find 17, he does. Gets close to a 20 bomb. I was about to say, yeah, Drox has been playing incredibly well for Vantage so far here on Mirage. He had a pretty decent Dust 2 as well. It's been a good player to watch. Good pick, Bilski.
Yep. I feel like there's a lot of players like that on teams like this where I'm like, yep, this would be the guy. If I was going to GM a team to put up, you know, mediocre results in Australia, I'd pick this guy to do it. And Drox would probably be one of them. Keo's got the orb courtesy of the knife from Lucas. So not something you might have had access to in the first gun round here on the T side for DXA, but luckily have been afforded it. Mid control being heavily contested now by the T side, starting to make their way through. Smoke deep into window. Flash to Con, thrown out by Keo. Beating the timing of this CT smoke and finding the opener as well. Very nicely handled.
Yeah, I don't know if Noor needs to peek there at that point. Pop flash, Con, pretty common. He peeks after it. At that point, you've still got short players. Let them walk up Con. Speaking of the short players, they actually find the kills that I expected them to find. 3-on-3, little sneak out at Apps and says, guys, I think B site might be open here. Fall back top me, grab the bomb, crack him. But then at the same time, you got Ruffle Coast somehow over towards CT to A. He could slip in through jungle, and Drox might not be aware, but Drox is in the best position. This doesn't get checked. Oh, it does. Oh! Wow. Never mind. That changes the round. That's full B site control as well, and they've got the cutoff from CT to market.
Yeah, Ruffle Coast is going to be a thought in their side. Open plant for market. Deep position as well. Smoking off the murder hole here to keep him interested, but yeah, we're not going for it. We're just saving. Can pick up another rifle as well, so look, it's a decent save. 2 rifles kept over. But DXA going to win themselves the round off of an exchange in mid and an active lurkout B apartments as well as A at the same time.
Where's the map control for the CT side, though, when you got a player that's basically like Ticket and then you got another one floating out of Apps? Like, there's just so much map control there for DXA on the T side. And I think that's probably a part of losing the com player so early in the round.
It's just how it happens because you had a, you know, it's a 1-3-1 from the Ts. They're running their T side default. The CT's response is aggression by playing heavy mid, right? So they're kind of playing like a 1-3-1 or sometimes even a 4-1. So when you get that exchange of like 2 for 2 in middle and you see that much commitment from the CTs to mid, that's where you, in a 1-3-1 on Ts, you go, well, if there's 4 mid, there's gaps on the map somewhere, and I could probably either take a 1v1 or find myself a free site or catch someone on the rotation.
UMP. Jinx.
Bloody hell, it's 2016 again. Cold Zero's the best player in the world.
Can't say I've seen this in a while. As he posted up, ramp. A decent little peek there from Vantage. One in Palace though at the moment, just lurking is Rocco. One smoked off. By their own doing though, just to deny the push up. And yeah, Rocco, nah, lovely lurk. So they cleared out ramp, and then they wanted to clear out Palace, but then they do find one. The UMP actually is successful. Time to drop that though.
Yeah, DXA. A lot of mid control. Boost up into window really could go either which way. It's a matter of timing at this point. Smoke fades. Lucas up on top of the little easel. Able to find that man advantage for DXA. And Vantage now retake 8. Looking to try to aggress middle. Maybe go for a bricks boost. Jinx trying to catch someone on the cross. Flash goes behind him. And he's going to benefit from that greatly. Still only a 1-for-1 though. And unless Vantage can find some impact from these players in middle, it's, yeah, going to be a save.
That's just the reality of CT. You got no money in the bank. Double rifle that you can still take over to the next round. You're up to 9-6. You can certainly afford to give up a couple of rounds. It's not as if a 2v3 is, you know, unwinnable. You do have a kit available on Alec, but nevertheless, the position they're in, awful. Plant down too quick. You got to make up so much ground. You got to clear out so much. It's just not going to be worth it. You essentially have to have a bit of a hero round to clutch this up and win it, and it's just the smarter option at this point to just save the M4s, keep them, especially also utility, right? You can also save the said utility that you do have on the belt. The 9-7 DXA doing DXA things and slowly bringing it back, similar to what they did on Dust 2.
Going to go into the next round without too much to play with on the side advantage, just the saved over rifles. Give themselves some chance and some time to build up the economy, but that's where DXA can start to close this round gap. We've definitely got a neck and neck game that could go either way. DXA giving themselves more room for error by building up that T-side economy though.
I like the pressure mid though for Vantage. Yeah, a bit of a response in this round. Yeah, you've only got 2 rifles. Get the pistols out, get aggressive, play off of them. If they make contact, maybe you can swing trade, get a couple of guns if you do get an early pick. Start to hand those over. Roffelco. Yeah, I mean, that's just a 1 peak though from Night Raid. Jinx was never in a position to be able to swing off that, go for a trade. Roffelco does need to be a little bit cautious because Jinx coming in slowly from behind with the dualies, and he hasn't been able to gap him. This is honestly kill territory, and indeed it will be. An AK available for Jinx. He could try and grab that, but there is a quick response while grabbing the bomb. Lucas can't quite get the kill. AK, though, acquired 3 rifles now for the side advantage, although never mind, make it 2. Loss of Alec in the short control established for DXA, along with Bench being wiped out. This is going to be an easy bomb site taken, and Jinx is going to have to save the AK.
There was potential there. They're running into a site with 2 rifles, but just a little out of position. So Vantage cannot capitalize, cannot finish off either Keo or Zuko, and DXA are going to win themselves another round, probably with 4 alive. They've already got good money, 2+K on most of these players, so going to have plenty of chances to lose rounds on the T side and keep press on. Try to close out this game. And as you mentioned, Jinx is going to hold on to the AK and the molly into the next round. Keep that one chat potential. Also can drop over an AWP at 2.8. Or maybe not actually. 5.2 might just be a little bit too little. Thought their loss bonus was better than it was. We're all thinking it, Xenox. No more jump throw bind. Off the spawn. Is he going to get it? He's got it.
Used to it. I will say, right, like, it is actually now at the point where it's going to be irrelevant, especially as players get more used to doing it manually. I think CS2's done a decent job to actually emulate the jump binds.
Well, I think, yeah.
It's just going to be a case of, like, you've spent 20 years using a jump bind, and you can't.
Yeah.
Double kill in through the push out from Con. Zuko. 3 on 3. Haven't had a round like this. Oh, good. A little jump up for Jinx. Doesn't get the second though, and again, the trades continue around the map, but it is a split for DXA. Bomb over towards spawn. They do have options here. Plenty of time.
Same thing again, just big trades in middle. Then the extremities get active on the T side. Weren't expecting multiple players on the active lurk outside 8. Keo having to go back and pick up the bomb. Lucas has foregone the apps control to link up with his teammate, and going to try to creep out A here. Drox playing full retake. No real info for the CTs. They're just going to try to play their ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think for DXA though, it's about, I'll just make it a 2-on-1. Drox and Alec though, they're certainly in a more precarious position. No backup. No one's going to get a trade. If you don't find a kill, that's probably the round if you are now Drox. We can see that. Alec, though, preparing for the same thing over towards B, but of course we know it's going to be an A hit. First piece of utility. Rotate will come through. Molotov does allow Drox actually through. Smoke on up, and he's going to get into a good position. Contact actually landed there. The headshot, but Lucas lands one with the better weaponry of the AK, and Alec now has to make the decision. Do I go for this? There was the dink. It is a 1v2, and you're at the point now where it's 9-8 on the scoreboard. Honestly, you've got to go for it. Look away from the flash, and suddenly, that's one down in a second to follow. Nicely done from Alec, considering he did have to look away from that flash. It was a low HP Lucas, but in the end, grabs the AWP, gets the bomb, and it's a 10th round acquired for Vantage.
It's an expensive one, though. A lot of guns taken away from them, which is the issues closing out games on the CT side sometimes when things are getting expensive and you're not having these clean rounds. 1900 loss bonus for the boys. So this is what I was saying. DXA have built up that economy to keep the press on. They can get in there with a good gun round or two in the next couple. They can still keep this a very tight game. Good spawn for Keo on the AWP here. See if he's able to catch Drox in window, perhaps. Drox has made it across and actually almost caught the spam kill there.
Once again, 1-3-1 for DXA. Ruffle one over towards Palace. The MP9 deadly in this position though.
Got the second wave of smokes in middle. Just trading down utility, applying pressure. Trying to flush out any CTs, playing the close angles. Molly DeCon going to start to tickle Zuko, which can be heard by Drox. Just waiting out these last couple of smokes. And now DXA with a little bit more space in middle. Going to get active on the extremities as well. MP9 isolated and dealt with easily. Just a lot more pressure on this A site now.
I mean, I think from Ruffleco's perspective here, it's like, can I force the rotate off that kill? But I mean, not really, because Night Raid finds a kill elsewhere. He's still got good presence on B. So now he's basically a solo in Palace. Like, what do I do at this point? No one's rotated over. They've still got B site control. Bombs in mid. He's kind of done his job as the one in Palace, but the DXA can't really play off it right now. They haven't cleared out CT ticket. They haven't cleared out jungle. Flash comes in. That's going to allow them to kind of make the run through. But Jinx, yeah, I mean, in a really prime position to be able to counter that. The push up towards stairs. It's only 10 seconds left to end the round.
Oh.
Okay, well, this one's done.
Yeah. Good spam to shut it down, and Drock's going to scale forward and win it. 3 alive for Vantage. More cleanly won this time, and with no bomb plant. That's going to break the money if DXA. Vantage right on the edge of winning this map. They just need to close out one clean anti-eco here and one gun round, and they've got it done.
Yeah, I think from Ruffleco's perspective, he doesn't do a lot wrong, but I do wonder if he could have done more. If that's probably the best way to phrase it. Kind of feigns, you know, with the utility, mullet towards sandwich, etc. A couple of flashes at whatnot. Like, hey, I've gotten this kill. Everyone come over here, and then the B hit can be more successful for DXA. But he didn't show enough. He needed to probably make contact with Jinx. Jinx was able to kind of just full ticket. Scout and an AK. Walked into a bar. What do they walk away with? Suko, though, with the Tech 9, gets the opening kill. And this is where you get a little bit nervous if you're Vantage.
Oh, for sure. You could go from putting the game on a silver platter to throwing it in the bin right here, right now. They don't know that the hero AK's amongst the equation. A lot of pressure and control in middle, but that's really all DXA has going for them right now. No real extremity presence at all. It's a bit of a one-dimensional approach, and they're getting abused on the range. Nice peek from top ticket to even up the numbers. Brackham gets the AWP in his hands, and he's waiting for another one.
Tap away, but unsuccessfully. Nor trying to just see if he can finish off a couple of low HP Ts towards shore. Oh, nice spot on the player. Close con. 1 versus 1. Said it before, potentially the map on a silver platter. Well, that nade's going to finish it all off.
Wow.
Indeed, nothing that you could do if you KO. Just facing down, death coming towards your location. 12 to 8. DXA hope in heart, but they can't come through in that round. They will be able to buy into this, of course. It was an eco round, so they've got the money to buy here, but yeah, they don't have the rounds anymore.
Africa's got to go down to a Tech 9. Went for the hero AK in the last. Both teams very broke. No loss bonus here for Vantage, so reset potential very much there for DXA. Quick pacing straight at ramp, dealing with the Molotov and flashes, helping them scale over the top. Jinx anchoring from the site, only going 1 for 1. And DXA now trepidatious on the cross, aware of the presence of the AWP.
You say only, but at least does get his one, but they need a little bit more help from Night Raid over towards jungle. He does land the shot with the AWP. Brackham's low as well. He's going to have to be the next one to make contact. No util for Lucas. He did just pick up a molly, but he finds the kill, and that's more important. Night Raid wants to push forward. The AWP in that situation probably not going to be helpful. I'll talk about forcing a 9th round if you're DXA, just the rush through main, and in the end does the job. Not much Jinx could do. Bit of an island, just somewhat behind default. Gets one, but then falls. No backup in time to help. At least for DXA. Certainly the aggression shown there. Something we haven't seen a whole lot of on the T side.
I don't know how I feel about this force. Like, you have 1900 loss bonus. So, you know, I would prefer the, like, M4 light buy. In round 23 here, it's not like their minimum loss bonus. They at least have, like, 1. But they're going to go for it. Pistols and armor and a heavy stack towards middle, which is exactly what DXA are contesting here. Boost up on bricks. 3 players on short, 1 towards Con. Smoke goes to top Con. DXA just running the 1-3-1. Waiting for aggression on the extremities.
Flash certainly got the play off of Briggs, but the close angle, I don't think connected. Pracker, nice double though. Love that up close from Jinx. Ruffle Code, no idea. Suddenly, the Force now not looking so bad. AK in hand for Jinx. You've got armor here. Pracker can't win that battle. Close range Deagle. You can spray that down, and that's exactly what Nor does. At this point, I don't even know if you want the AWP. If you Keo, you can watch towards market, but they've got to get onto site. Don't know about the Molotov. Close does get denied. No one under window, though. Flash from short, but no follow-up. And it's a very low HP Keo, and they are starting to get surrounded by not pistols anymore, but AKs, and they've still got armor as well. It suddenly looks like it could be the final round. Barring something crazy from Lucas and Keo, they are surrounded.
Yeah, the Briggs boost might be something that you're overlooking. Lucas trying to get active and in amongst it. Keo catching one on the cross as well. They're turning around this anti-force buy situation. Drox trying to scale forward, knows that he's got 2 low players to find, and another missed shot from Keo puts it into a 1-on-1. Lucas now hearing all of these footsteps and is going to close it out for DXA. Keeping the dream alive, but it was a round that they struggled through.
I mean, the good news for, well, I don't even know this. So basically, I think from Vantage's perspective, it's like, okay, well, we're going to just full reset our economy here. We're going to double eco, then we're going to go absolute full buy territory or full belt of utility and try and win it.
That's what you usually do in your 1400 loss bonus. Like they had 1900, so I don't know why they went for that. But
basically said we're going to just have to try and win one round. We're going to try and win just one round. Headshot from Lucas and DXA, I think, in a really prime position now to be able to send this one to overtime. Sure, Vantage next round are going to be able to full buy, but DXA fully equipped to counter.
Yeah, clean out to Eco. Nice shot on the cross. So yeah, 1 gun round for Vantage to close this one, and it's not a particularly great looking one. At least they've got the AWP, which was the benefit of buying pattern that they chose, right? If they did. Yeah, I mean, they were never going to have a good buy. It was just really a question of whether it was going to be like, you know, low 5Ks or like 4.5K. That was kind of the difference in their buying pattern. Anyway, as it stands, this is the choice that they've gone for. They will. Yeah, that could be a problem in the mid to late round for sure. We end up in an after plant. 4 players committed to mid. This is a very straightforward approach from DXA.
1 split, Ruffle just over towards ramp. Some ladder room. I mean, I don't mind this as a position. You kind of play the smoke. When it does dissipate, you can kind of see has anyone jumped up in towards window. Rox actually ended up finding a kill from said position of ladder room, and Jinx, nicely done as well from Hell, catches out the pushing Ruffleco, who tried to get space towards A out of ramp. Smoke in towards window, and suddenly it's just going balls to the wall now for DXA. Basically got 3 down. A site locked down. If you're Vantage, you're pretty happy with this situation. You can't throw it from here, surely. Not with that kill confirmed from Jinx. Tried to just push out a con towards stairs. He gets the answer. I don't know if you're going to be able to clear Drox here with the AWP, but the double pinch could be successful, but it swings back in towards ladder. Doesn't matter. Short player coming through is Nor. Suddenly down to Jazuko. 1 versus 3 to try and get this game to overtime. Bomb in hand. Smoke goes out. Other side of default sits in the smoke. Fortunately for him, 2 players mid, but he's going to get sprayed down surely through con. And well, in the end, and it's exactly what happens, and it will be Vantage taking the second map, 13-11.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected from these 2 teams today. You get a 1-1 in this stage of ECL. It's going to make things pretty spicy for the tiebreakers in terms of, you know, moving forward. Who's going to get relegated, who's going to potentially play for playoffs, and who's going to stay in groups for next season. So in terms of the overall standings, a 1-1 between 2 teams of relatively similar positions in terms of the overall round robin. You know, going to keep things interesting, but I think in terms of looking at the result for 2 teams of this kind of similar level, of this kind of similar consistency, you know, we got a pretty back and forth game, and you ended up with both of them taking a map.
13-9 on Dustu to DXA, 13-11 to Vantage on Mirage. Probably sums it all up, really. Again, hard to kind of split these two teams. Someone that was probably easy to split from the rest of the group was Drox. I thought he was tremendous, and especially on the second map of Mirage, popped off 23 kills and was a big factor, I think, as to why Vantage were able to get that second map.
Yeah, for sure. He went massive, and even in the first map, I'd argue that his 1v4 clutch got them the majority of those rounds, at least 3 or 4 of them, and set them up for a bit of a runway to be competitive in the first half where they might not have been otherwise.
Yep. Well, pretty fascinating day. I enjoyed it, Pilsky. Some pretty good CS. Both games were quite close. I think both teams could have walked away with a 2-0, but in the end, it's just 1-1. They'll split it all evens here for today's action of ESL Challenger League in Oceania. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.